Hello and welcome to episode 86 of Things I Learned from Barry Harris. And today I thought we would discuss, since in one of the previous episodes we talked about A minor 7, I thought we would talk about today A minor 7 flat 5 or A half diminished, or as Barry likes to refer to it as C minor 6. So, A minor 7 flat 5. This happens only in one key, the key of B flat. It's the 7th of B flat. Not to say that that's the only place you're going to use it, but it only happens in one key, B flat. So when we did A minor 7, I think we only talked about two places, but an A minor 7 diatonically is on the 2nd of a key, which is in G. It's on the 3rd of a key, which is in F, but it is also on the 6th of a key, which is C. So there's three places where there's a minor 7. Which means they're different. A minor 7 is not A minor 7 in all those different keys. It has there's a different reason to play it. A minor 7 flat 5, it's the 7 of one key. That's it, diatonic. In the key of B flat, it's found on the 7th degree. Now a lot of times it's used for if we're doing a minor 2-5, or if we're going to play a 2, going to a 5, going to, let's say, in this instance, it would be G minor. Now, the benefit of knowing that this A minor 7 flat 5 is not just A minor 7 flat 5, but one of the chords along Barry's C minor 6 diminished scale of chords is so that you could do things like, it's not just one stagnant chord, you're able to move it. So the first thing that you have to know about A minor 7 flat 5 is that it's C minor 6. C minor 6 diminished. So you have to know A minor 7 flat 5, you have to know it in your drop 2s, which is what I'm playing now, 4 consecutive strings. You have to know it in drop 3s. You have to know it in drop 2, drop 4. Oh, sorry, minor 6. These are really beautiful. You have to know it in, I mean, everything we practice. So, for instance, C minor 6, you also have to know it in thirds. You have to know it in triads. This is a hard one. You have to know it in octave chords. You have to know it in a bunch of things. Broken drop 2 chords. So, the reason that you have to know it in all those things is because now when you see on a piece of sheet music an A minor 7 flat 5, you could say to yourself, okay, I'm immediately transposing, since I'm a Barry person, I'm immediately transposing it to one of my 4 scales of chords. And the one scale of chords that it's going to transform into is that minor 6. So that'll be C minor 6. So now let's say we're playing Autumn Leaves. There's your A half diminished, right there. So right from here we say, okay, what can I do as either a accompanist or somebody who's comping to make A minor 7 flat 5 interesting, or to better put, to improvise on A minor 7 flat 5. Now if I just look at it as a stagnant chord, I can't do much with it. But if I look at it as this chord that comes from this 8-note scale, there's a lot I can do with it. For instance, I can play just a couple of inversions up in drop 2, and it sounds pretty. So let's do it again. So So that time I mixed up playing it in drop 2s. I threw in some thirds. And I ended on a D7, but the tritone D7, which is A flat 7. But do you see? So now I'm moving within a scale. And I was doing it all with the scales, with the chords before it too, but I just want to primarily focus on the A half diminished. And that was just moving parallel motion in drop twos. I can also do contrary motion, which is where you take one note, move it up, but at the same time you're going to move another line down, which is really beautiful. So maybe I'll do I'll try contrary motion this time. So that time I did contrary motion. That's all contrary. Totally contrary, but contrary of the C minor 6 diminished. So that's really beautiful. Contrary motion is beautiful. I could have also done oblique motion, which is where you keep one note still and then you move some notes around it, but you keep that same note still. So maybe we'll do this note. Okay, let's try that. And then we'll say, it wasn't the greatest thing, but that's oblique motion. One note moves, one note. So we did parallel, where we were moving all the drop twos. We did contrary, where we played a note down and played a note up at the same time. So you start to see all the little things that you can do on that A half diminished. The thing is that's strange that I've been talking to people about is, I don't know why this happens, but it happens all the time. When we're soloing, if we were soloing on Autumn Leaves, that's when it's really our time to stretch out and to really try to make a statement, soloing in single notes. Which is great. But for some reason, when it comes our time to accompany somebody doing that, we end up playing our same thing the way that every single guitar player sounds. I don't know why we do this. It's very nice. There's nothing wrong with it if that's exactly what you want to hear. But what's funny is if you listen to every guitar player, you could listen to 100 guitar players, and they all seem to do that same thing. Meanwhile, they're all wonderful guitar players. Individually, they're fantastic. So why should we not be improvising and making beautiful sounds while we're accompanying somebody? If you put in some of those things like on this C minor 6 that I'm talking about, no matter who's soloing, it's not like they're going to say you're doing something bad or you're taking away from their solo. It's only going to make them sound better. So the whole idea of improvising when you're soloing, but then all of a sudden when you're not soloing, you just become this robot that just plays the same chords in the same way. It's not necessary. We could be doing much more, and we should be doing much more. And that's what Barry's 4 scales of chords gives you. It gives you total freedom. And by freedom, I mean, if I know this A half diminished is not just one stagnant chord, but actually comes from one of his 4 scales of chords, and in this case, it comes from C minor 6, that means everything I know how to do C minor 6, I can put into here. Everything. As long as I resolve it into D7, which then resolves into G minor 6. Totally fine. But the idea is still the same. So look, here's, let's say maybe I just wanted to do like a single note run. I'll do a C minor 6. So here's my A half diminished. I'm going to play C minor 6 straight up. C, flat third, 5th, 6th. C again, flat third. I came down a half step and I ended on a D augmented. So let's see if I can do that. It's beautiful. Now, if you comp like that behind somebody soloing, there'd be nothing wrong with that. So now maybe let's do thirds. Maybe I'll do thirds. that's C minor 6 in thirds. So sometimes you'll even play a chord and then put in some drop twos around it. But every one of these notes that I'm playing comes from that 8-note scale, C minor 6 diminished. So it's limitless. There are so many fantastic things that you can do with it. And every person that knows about this system that plays, what's amazing about it is I can hear them play and I know what they're doing in terms of what scale they're doing, but maybe I haven't practiced that way, or maybe they know thirds better than I do, or maybe they know their triads better than I do, and they do something really unique with the triads. Maybe they borrow a note on a triad or something. I mean, there are so many. So I talk about this guitar player, Thomas Echols, who has this wonderful channel called Labyrinth of Limitations. He showed me this thing where he took this scale and he used Barry's chromatic scale on top of it. So he took the scale and put Barry's idea of his chromatic scale, which is whenever you get to a half step, you use it, but then whenever you have a scale tone and there's no half step in between, you jump up to the next scale tone. So his C minor 6 scale, which is, would then be this. Which is beautiful. Wait, did I do that right? Oh, wait. That's it. So it's really beautiful, but he does it with chords. Oh, wait, so it would be this. Oh. Let me do that again and not mess it up. So pretty. So you could think of doing, here's A half diminished. Here it is here. I'm going to try to do that. I mean, you could use it. He also does it when he plays, if he does contrary motion, so he'll say, also beautiful. Let's see. I mean, just beautiful. So anyway, the idea is he put those things together because he really believes that A half diminished really comes from C minor 6 diminished scale. So all you have to do is convert your thinking. And you know, the beautiful thing about Barry's method is every chord diatonically, you can do this with one or more of Barry's 4 scales of chords. So he has his 4 scales of chords: major 6 diminished, minor 6 diminished, dominant 7 diminished, dominant 7 flat 5 diminished. But diatonically, you only have a major, minor, minor, major, dominant, minor, minor 7 flat 5, and then major again. But you can apply one or more of Barry's scales of chords to all these things, which gives you freedom on every chord, which means every change you play, depending on how well you know the scale of chords, you can come up and improvise all these beautiful new ideas all the time, and will all sound different, every one of us. That's where the individual comes in, where a person has nice taste. I just gave a lesson where this person, he showed me something I never saw before. And that's what's going to happen. This is exactly what's going to happen. So as far as A minor 7 is beautiful, because you should think of it as C6 diminished scale. A minor 7 flat 5 is also beautiful, because you should think of it as C minor 6 diminished scale. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, until next time, have fun practicing your minor 6 scale of chords. Till next time.